Hey, welcome back to Divinely Uninspired, episode 22. I don't know about you, but I think we need to celebrate a little bit. We've turned 22 episodes in. This is under fair use. I don't know about you, but our podcast is now 22 episodes in, and that's really, really exciting because I never really thought we would make it this far, to be honest with you. So I didn't know what to expect.
So I don't even know what that was about. Was that a song?
That was. Yes, it was
How
Taylor.
dare you?
It was
I
Taylor
know.
Swift's 22.
I don't like Taylor Swift.
Oh, it's my guilty pleasure. It is. I'm a Swiftie.
I am too.
Yeah.
I can't believe you. I just cannot believe you.
Yeah, I don't like her. I think she's like manufactured.
Well, there may be truth to that, but I still really like
I feel
her.
like her like story. I read an article one time about it that like, and I'm not saying she's not talented, but that like her career arc was like a manufactured arc. Like it was like very thought out and precise and detailed in the way it all worked out, and like her evolving and all that stuff. That it's not really her evolving. It's all like the industry, like anyway.
I kindly disagree.
We are not going to besmirch Tay-Tay today.
Oh my gosh.
All right, and we are here once again, as always, with Jeremy. Welcome back, Jeremy.
Hey, I probably made everybody mad because I know everybody else loves Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're going to subject you to her the rest of the week. And back with us, haven't been here in a while. People thought maybe something terrible had happened to you. April, welcome back.
Hey guys,
It's
I'm
good.
glad to be back.
Good. We're glad you're back. Paul did a great job stepping in. Jamie did a good job. Oh, great.
April's recovering from the monkeypox.
That's
Shut
right.
up. Gosh, no, I'm
That's right.
not.
That's why I call her Ape.
Oh my gosh.
And then as always, Penny is with us again today as well.
Hey, y'all.
You've already heard her angrily defend Taylor Swift.
That's right.
So-
To the death.
Hey, so the last last couple of episodes have been pretty heavy. We've tackled some controversial topics, some sad topics, some frustrating topics, and so today we are gonna just focus on good things and fun. And so if you're normally listening to this and you get enraged at the things that we say or talk about, today is not one of well, if you're one of those people, you can probably find something to get upset about. But we are just going to have some fun today with some fun news stories. And Jeremy's going to tell us his favorite weird stories in the Bible and why. And then he's going to tell us how we can apply those to our lives to become
You
better
cannot apply
Christians.
any of the stories that I'm going to talk about today. I can tell you that much.
All right, and then at the end we are going to share. We've done the thing where we share our favorite books and stuff like that, but today we are going to share just our favorite things right now, like whatever those might be. They can
Like
be,
Oprah.
yeah, very
And
much
we're
like
gonna give them
Oprah.
away.
Yeah,
Well,
it's our favorite things.
Go Rusty.
Yeah, I love Oprah. All right, but before anything else, here's a song. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're listening to Divinely Uninspired, podcast by Journey Church Shepherdsville, hosted by Jeremy Willis and me, Rusty Wilson. You can find us online at journeyshepherdsville.com. For questions or comments, email podcast@journeyshepherdsville.com. Maybe we'll feature your question or comment on a future episode. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. Okay, so the first bit of good news that we are going to share today is that Jeremy is pregnant. No, there is
It's like, what was that movie with Arnold?
Junior.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
that's so creepy now that I think about
Yeah,
that.
it is. But I liked it when it was out.
Me too.
Yeah, it was like, no, I had to be pregnant. No.
Like, the pitch for that movie. Can you imagine like just the pitch for that? I mean, because like he had just come off like the Terminator, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, all right, so now we're gonna do a movie where you're going to be pregnant. Yeah.
Get the baby to the chopper.
Oh my gosh, Rusty.
All right. So the real bit of good news is that a new breakthrough drug has been developed that is having amazing results on cancer. So here's the headline: New cancer therapy results in 100% remission in all of its patients, which is surprising to scientists. So this sounds pretty incredible. Like there's not a person in the world at this point who hasn't been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a family member or a friend or even ourselves. And so this is just really, really exciting news. And now to maybe we don't need to have a ticker tape parade just yet, but in this small clinical study, 18 individuals with colorectal cancer, 18 out of 18 people saw in complete remission and are not having to face any more treatment because of this incredible new therapy. So the way they've done it is they have found that there's this protein that creates like a shield around tumors, and this therapy causes the protein to break down so that those tumors don't have that protective shield around them anymore. So this is incredible news. And they said more studies still have to be done, but 100% is a pretty good batting average. So I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts? Any exciting thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really neat. So right now it's only for that one type of cancer, though, right?
Yeah.
So that's just it's only for the
right. Yeah. Well,
okay.
Well, I'll say this: this is the only cancer that they have tested it against so far.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is, Rusty, this website is the worst.
It
It
really
is
is.
like we have got to start finding. It's like, would you like a virus now? Would you like?
There's about 5 different things
I've had 7 pop-ups in the 30 seconds I've been looking at this article.
Well, download a pop-up blocker. I love this website, if nothing else, because it's got a really fun name.
But I did Google that because I was like, okay, it's on this one website. But there were like, when I Googled it in the news thing, there were like 20 other articles from websites that won't give you any type of problems with your phone or computer. But yeah, so I mean, that's amazing. I mean, hopefully they can continue to do studies for other types of cancer, or I guess, apply this to other types of cancer and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty amazing.
it's and it, lest anyone think that this is from like Russian state Ministry of Medicine or something. This was reported in the New England Journal of Medicine. So it's been fact checked, as if you will. So Penny, April, any thoughts, any excitement, any
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I mean, especially with my mom, battling breast cancer right now. I mean, it's different, obviously, than, the cancer that they tested on, but it's still hope. You know what I'm saying? And I'd love to see a world without cancer. I'm over it. I've had a lot of friends diagnosed with it. I know a lot of people with it. So yeah, I think it's great advancement in the treatment for sure.
So after reading it, it says that it's about $11,000 per dose. Yep. My goodness.
Right. But if you consider how expensive it would be to treat somebody long term.
Right. I'm just wondering, does that, if it's a trial, does insurance actually cover stuff like that? Or
usually with clinical trials, because you're being tested on, you're not liable for
you're covered
for the payment.
Yeah. So when my mother-in-law, she had a melanoma, which is skin cancer, and they did trials with her. And I don't know all the details, but I know that, it was a super expensive trial if she'd had to pay for it, but because it was under the trial, like you didn't have to pay for that. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously exciting. I mean, I do worry about, I think the money with these things is always the thing for me. Like, is it going to go through? Because, you also have a lot of people making a lot of money off traditional medicine. And that's always the concern with some of the stuff, is you hear all these like therapies and stuff that are working, but they're sometimes a last resort because there's so much money in the medical world as far as, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what my wife said last night when I was telling her about this, and she was like, I don't think it'll ever go to production because there's too much money in cancer treatment. But this is a day of good news. And so the good news,
so we're not going to be pessimist about this society that we live in.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is going to be available to all of us in the near future, is my hope.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I hope none of us actually get that cancer, but you know.
Well, no, but available should we need it.
Right.
I can go to CVS and pick it up. All right. So the next fun story, or a good news story, is also from this science website run by Russian state media. It's not really. It's IFL Science, which is I freaking but not freaking love science, and they had to change their name to IFL because it wasn't kid friendly enough. But
really, it's surprising.
Yeah. So here's the headline: "Great day," in quotes. It's a great day for bumblebees as Californian court rules that they are fish. So this is not a satirical headline here. So bear with me. So we all know that there's this great bumblebee crisis, right? There's the bees are disappearing. They even stopped showing up on the Honey Nut Cheerios box for a while because it was trying to bring awareness to people. There are actually organizations who will send you free wildflower seeds that you can plant to help it. My niece, she's got several beehives. It's amazing. And she goes out there with a little beekeeper suit. She's adorable. And I mean, she's an adult. She's early 20. But it's still adorable.
From a really cute story to like a
This
what?
just went downhill.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is not what you think. It's not like they discovered that bumblebees have gills or anything like that. But so bumblebees are endangered, and California has an endangered species program. And one of the problems with the endangered species program is it's very specific as to what type of animals are covered under that. So as a way to get the bumblebees protected under this act, they ruled that, well, they are invertebrates, much like fish. And so we will just classify bumblebees as fish.
Stop.
Well, good for the bees.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I think
the bees just need to be bees.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
they need to
otherwise-
be. But they do need to be protected. Well, they're not letting them. They're not saying like, but they do need to be protected because I think that is a I watched I've watched several documentaries, and I watched the Bee movie, Jerry Seinfeld's movie. But
what's the deal with this bee movie?
Yeah. But like there have been lots of studies, I mean, obviously, and documentaries about this, that like how important bees are to us because of the pollination and all that stuff, and how important they are to our ecosystem. And so I think it's good. I mean,
Yeah. It does. This is the headline from the California Program Director of the Endangered Species Act. Today's decision confirms that the California Endangered Species Act protections apply to all of our state's imperiled native species and is critical to protecting our state's renowned biodiversity. So this is another wonderful piece of news that bees are being protected. Because we have to have the bees. If we don't have the bees, we don't have the honey. Yes.
Aaron actually wants to do a beehive at our place.
Do it.
Yeah, he's going to. He's looking into it now.
I know that it is a ton of work, and my resident expert niece, she said that right now, because so many people during the pandemic took up beekeeping, that it's hard to find any of the stuff that you need to do it. So, Elise, if you're listening, good job saving the bees. We're proud of you.
Listen, let Aaron do that. Then he can get like a beekeeper suit, and then Rusty will come over and tell him how adorable he looks.
That's a great
He's
idea.
not my 20-year-old niece. I was there the day she was born. Leave me alone.
I do love the honeybees, but the bees that I hate right now are the wood bees. I hate wood bees. We have a huge deck behind our house, and then we got a shed that's made out of wood, and I know we probably shouldn't kill them, but I
They're
find
brutal.
such
You
joy
probably
in
shouldn't have
killing
said that out loud.
wood bees.
Well,
I know. They're
question.
not protected though.
Yeah, are carpenter beers? Are carpenter bees pollinators?
I don't think they are.
I don't. I guess. Okay,
We'll
it's a
figure that out.
great.
Somebody will correct that. We can
But
Google
aren't
that.
wasp pollinators as well? And I hate them things.
I don't think wasps are.
Are you sure? I thought I read.
I'm pretty sure it's just bumblebees.
Just
Well, there's other
bumblebees.
For
pollinators,
honeybees.
and butterflies are pollinators too.
That's
Because the way
true.
they go from
We are pollinators.
well, everything that pollen can stick to is technically a pollinator. But,
Yeah.
I feel like the bees are making a comeback in our area, though. Like at the zoo, if you haven't been in a while, like they're everywhere there. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
if you go to Bernheim,
they
do
leave the
like
grass tall and stuff.
Well,
now,
Bernheim,
and-
they have a bee area. Have you seen that?
Yes,
Yeah.
and she comes out and she actually teaches the kids on the
Yeah.
weekend. So if you go during the weekend,
The
she's
bee
out there.
does. The bees.
Yeah, the bees come out and they talk
Hey,
to everybody.
kids, I'm a bee.
It's Jerry
They
Seinfeld.
It's a
do
lady
have that
dressed
one
as a
area
giant
though.
bee.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see like the queen and
So go
yeah.
out there; it's fun.
I always like that at the state fair when they had the bees in that one section. You would go
Yes.
around looking for the queen,
and you get local honey, and it's the best honey.
and then
So,
it's good for your allergies.
That's what I don't know. I think that's a myth.
No, it
No,
really is.
But you have to get local. You can't.
Yeah, get local.
Yeah, so it will help because it's your area where you live specifically. So it's
So
I
it
think
can't
my
be. It
allergist
can't
said
be
that's
like
all
local,
myth.
like Bowling Green. Like it's got to be
I know.
local, like
Yeah,
Shepherdsville
Shepherdsville.
honey.
well for you out in wherever you live. So
LJ.
Just get Aaron to start.
Yeah,
You know.
he's going to. He's very determined to that and chickens.
okay. Well,
So yeah,
it's a great day. We're having fun. We're celebrating good news. Now, this is just a weird story. So it's not necessarily good news. It's not bad news. It's just interesting news. And it has to do with our beloved home state here in Kentucky. And this is, I don't know what this website is, but it's got a HTTPS, which means that it's secure, which means that it's safe. So
Unlike the other one you said.
that's right. So this headline, here you go. Ready? Possible alligator sighting reported in Kentucky pond. Okay, so the official Facebook page for the Mike Miller Park, it's in Benton, Kentucky, which is near Paducah. I've never been there, but there was a fisherman out, and they put out a warning that people, swimmers, fishermen, recreators should be careful because there's a possible alligator sighting in the pond. And the one witness, he said this: we spent a couple hours out there, but we weren't able to see anything. The witness, though, was determined to be a very credible source, and he says that he got a very good look at it. So if you are down in the Benton, Kentucky area, and you go to Mike Miller Park, just know that there may be an alligator in there.
Mike Miller has fallen a long way since NBA Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, well,
None of y'all get that joke, but anyway.
No.
All right, so there'll be like 3 people that laugh at that. I'm one of them. But anyway, but it's in a pond, right? So couldn't it just be somebody's like pet alligator? Because a lot of people buy alligators and then like they outgrow their area. So like it's not like it's in a lake or like
Who buys an alligator?
oh, all kinds of people.
all kind of weird people,
What?
but people do it.
Wasn't there a show on Nickelodeon a long time ago? I remember my daughter watching it. They had
Jesse,
they had
it's a
pet
Komodo
alligator.
dragon.
Yeah, it was a Komodo.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Well, I can't remember the dragon's name because they think it's a boy dragon,
Yes.
and then
That's not what I'm thinking of. I'll Google
it lays
Y'all keep
eggs,
talking.
and Mrs. Kipling, that's what they call the Komodo dragon.
Wow,
Mrs.
that's a good
Kipling.
memory.
Yeah, well, she watches it daily, so
That is weird. I don't know that I believe it.
Oh, I do. I believe
don't know
it.
that I do.
oh yeah. So well, I mean, we've had that problem exists in our country all over the place. I mean, there are pythons in
They're like taking over in Florida. Like,
Yeah,
you
well,
can
that's-
they have big hunt. Have you read about that stuff?
no.
So these pythons, like they'll grow them, and obviously there's no animal there that can kill them. So I mean, they're just
Right.
growing out of crazy. So these guys will go on these hunts, and they'll pay you to go and like basically kill the biggest python you can. And you should Google some of the images. I mean, some of these things, and it's like they're like 10 feet long, 12 feet long,
Yeah.
and they're massive. And they'll like basically like you go kill it however you want, but kill these things because they're invasive and
Right.
they're killing all the other wildlife. And like pythons kill alligators. So alligators, down in Florida, obviously help. It's an environmental thing, an ecosystem thing. But these pythons are like going crazy there. You can find, like Tiger King. That whole documentary was about people that were buying tigers, and then
Oh, that is true.
they try to maul their owners until they have to go somewhere. So they go to these sanctuaries. So I mean, it's anyway.
This is how we got Jurassic Park, guys.
Well, I say let the alligator be. Just let him be.
Well, I think they're going to keep an eye on things. They have not been able to verify that he's in there, but I think it's just a matter
I mean,
of
if
time.
he's not doing anything, let him
well, and he's probably
let him
small.
live.
He's probably a fairly
For
small guy.
now,
That's true.
I would not want to be around an alligator.
But it's interesting news. It's not bad news. It's just it's
I'm glad
That
we're
actually-
doing happy news. I
That
like
made
happy
local
news.
news. Actually, I remember Wave 3 did that story.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. Oh, well. So we've got the Kentucky Gator and the cocaine bear. So we're just adding to our repertoire of fun animals. All right, y'all ready for another good feel good story? Everybody here likes dogs, right?
Yeah.
We all like dogs. We all have dogs. I've got 2 dogs. I've got 2 Labradoodles, Bruce and Lulu, and Jeremy has a Labradoodle too.
Yep, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, and he's the most food motivated dog I've ever met.
He is very food motivated.
And-
He's a food stiller.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
Yep.
And then Penny, you have a dog, right?
I do. Named Peanut.
Peanut, and he's on his way across the Rainbow Bridge soon, right?
He needs to cross that rainbow bridge.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's so hateful, y'all. I
Yeah.
say that all the time, and I'm like, how are you still living?
Well, karma or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And what about you, April? You all have dogs?
We have 3. So
Oh,
we
wow.
have a Great Pyrenees, a Shepherd, and then a Rottweiler Shepherd mix.
What are their
So,
names?
Bear, Zeke, and Bella.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Fun. Well, so there's this race up in Alaska every year called the Iditarod.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people who frown upon that because they feel like the dogs aren't treated well and it's cold. And it's like, well, I mean, but they're still dogs and they've got fur coats and all
And they
that.
love that too.
Some of them are bred for that.
Yeah.
Like that's what they want to do.
So anyway, back earlier this year, an Iditarod dog went missing during the race, and that is so. I actually did some research on what happens because you start with a certain amount of dogs, and sometimes you start the race with a like 14 dogs, but you'll end the race with like 11 dogs. And it's like, what happened to the other 3? That's concerning. And they actually have checkpoints where if your dog is injured or not running well, or it seems like they don't feel well, there are veterinarians there who will take care of your dog, nurse them, put them on a plane, fly them back to the starting gate, and then you can pick them up when you get back. Well, this one dog, Leon, he is a French dog, not like breed. He was just from France, and he went missing, ran away from the checkpoint, and so he has been missing for the last 3 months, but he has been found safely.
I love it.
Homeward Bound.
Yes.
Iron Will. Remember Iron Will?
Yeah.
Iron
Yeah.
Will.
That's right. Yeah.
And then there was Snow Dogs with
Snow Dogs was awesome.
It was horrible.
No, it was
Yeah.
not. It was
Balto.
great.
Balto is another one about the dog with the.
There is a great documentary I watched on Discovery Plus about that Iditarod, and it's called The Toughest Race on Earth. It's a really good documentary about that.
He looks so proud in the picture too. The picture of him.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. So they said they heard that he had been spotted near a cabin, and so they lured him out with some food, and safely caught him. And he was a little skinny, but otherwise healthy. Which you've been gone for 3 months in the cold. So, but he has been returned to his owner and will be traveling back to France here soon.
That's
Aw,
awesome.
I love that.
There are two. So I'm not an emotionally available person. Most people know that. But
Yeah,
there
we
are
know.
2 types of videos that get to me. So Penny will appreciate that. Like the deployment videos where like dads and moms
Yeah.
come back. Those always get to me. And then there's been several like where a dog like gets lost and then they find their kid or whatever. And like the moment those are good.
So
like,
here's
emotional,
the question:
Yeah.
Did you cry for Homeward Bound? Like
Which
when,
one's that?
Are you
Jeremy.
serious right
That's
now?
the one. It's the one where the kids they take their
Vacation.
So there's 3 dogs. There's 3 pets. There's Shadow, there's Chance,
Chance.
and there's Sassy.
Mhm.
Is
2
this where the
dogs and a
dogs
cat.
like talk and like there's people like talking for the dogs and all that
Yes.
stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
I quit after 10 minutes.
Oh my
okay.
gosh, Jeremy, that's such a great movie.
You need to watch that. Your kids need to watch that.
And I love the little cat Sassy. It reminds me of my cat
Chance.
Smokey.
Come here, boy. It's my favorite part of the
Yeah.
whole movie.
It's a very and then
I'll check it out sometime.
there was
Yeah,
Homeward
right.
Bound 2, something to do with San Francisco.
Yes.
That's
So,
right, yeah.
That one was good too.
No.
Yes, it was. Y'all
Listen,
just
one is
don't
a classic.
appreciate good
if
movies.
the first one's great, but if your dog and cat are stupid enough to think like, oh, they've left us again, when the first time around it was like, oh, that was a mistake. We should have just trusted.
But this
them.
is how my brain works. So like I don't think there's only one movie I ever cried in, and it was a movie I saw after my dad passed away, and it was at a scene where the dad passes away, and it just hit me all of a sudden. But like movies, I don't get emotional in because I know like it's written, like it's a plot. But like the deployment videos and like those get to me because I know it's real. Does that make sense? Like so in my brain, like I separate when I'm watching a movie, like this isn't really happening. This is just a plot. This
I'm
is
all
like someone
feels.
wrote this.
Every Pixar, I cry every Pixar
yeah,
movie.
I'm like I'll cry watching.
I mean, I'm not gonna say-
Hallmark.
the
I'm
first 10 minutes of Up. Oh my gosh.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that was sad, but I didn't like cry because I'm like,
Oh, I did.
A, it's animated. B, it's so anyway, that's just how my brain works. Like I break things apart like that. Like,
It must be hard to live in your brain sometimes.
It
I
is,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be complicated.
My wife says that to me all the time because I am a worrier and I go to the worst possible scenario every time anything happens. And she's like, it's got to be difficult living in your head. And it is. It's a scary place. Okay. Well, those are our wonderful good news stories. Anybody have any other stories they want to share just in their lives or, good news, feel good news, things that we can be happy about?
It's summer.
It is.
Yay.
It
Yeah.
is. It's finally we're out of school, which is
Yeah,
good.
the kids are out of school. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's good, but
It is good.
Yeah.
I enjoy being home with them, spending time with them.
wait till they become a teenager.
I do have one now.
Oh,
Taylor
sorry.
turned 13. Hard to believe.
Yep.
Awesome. Anybody else? Anything? Any other good news? No. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I get to go visit my husband. That's good
Oh,
news.
yeah, that's really
Yay! Yeah, in Texas.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, be safe. Have a good time. We
right, rack some brisket.
No,
At Bucky's.
No, not Bucky's. Go to a real good brisket place. Texas
You
is known for the
said
brisket.
Bucky's was amazing
For
brisket.
a gas station.
It's like
You didn't
2 out of
emphasize the
10.
gas station.
We are. So I'll tell you. I will tell you this. So we're getting a Bucky's close to where we go to the lake. So I'm excited about that. But
So
also
overrated.
the Raceway just opened up in E-Town, and I don't know why. Me and my kids, we love gas stations. Like they would rather eat at a gas station than like fine dining, and so we go to the Raceway every once in a while because you can
Interesting.
get a slice of pizza and frozen yogurt, and you can the whole family can eat for like $10.
All
Oh,
right.
you can do that at
Alright.
Sam's.
It's good news,
Yeah,
people.
Sam's is good too.
Yeah, their cafe.
Good news. It's good
Good
news.
We're getting a Raceway here. Oh, that's the good news. We're getting a Raceway here off Cedar Grove Road. Amongst all of the warehouses, they're actually putting in a
Oh,
Raceway.
Oh, so
That's
that's what
so
they're putting
nice.
in.
Staff lunch
Staff lunch.
over at
No.
Raceway.
We need
I-
steaks for staff
Yes.
lunch.
Okay, I told you I go to Dollar General. They
Yeah.
tell
No,
you
we
something
want
right
like
now.
a real steak,
You,
Jeremy.
you microwave.
Yeah,
them.
that's
I think
right.
we should go to like Jeff Ruby's or something.
They are putting a Capitol Grill over by the Oxmoor.
What's Capitol Grill?
It's good. It's a really nice steakhouse.
Steakhouse.
Oh, it's another steakhouse
It's
that
like
I
taking
can't
up
afford
like
to go
half
to.
the parking lot of the Oxmoor because
Mhm.
nobody goes to the mall anymore.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool.
It's-
Well, fun.
It's true.
Yeah.
Have to go check it out when I go play Top Golf over there when it finally opens.
Same.
All right. So those are our good feel good stories of the day. Maybe this needs to be like an episodely, I don't know, an every episode thing where we share at least one really good story. We try to do fun stories or interesting stories, but these were especially great, and I'm feeling good. But let's move on to what you all really want to know, which we're going to ask Jeremy what he thinks. Jeremy, what is your favorite weird Bible stories and why? So let's hear.
What does Jeremy think?
So there's a lot of them. It took me a lot to narrow these down. So I'm going to do 3 of them today. And these are just 3 of my favorite. And when I think of weird Bible, first of all, there's a lot. People don't realize there's so much weird stuff in the Bible. Like there are not only weird verses, there's weird stories. There's weird just like references to all kinds of things, explicit things, gross things, violent things, funny things. There's cussing in the Bible that people don't know about. And that's not in our English Bible written that way. But I mean, there's a lot of fascinating stuff in the Bible. So these are my top 3. And I've actually preached sermons about all 3 of these before. So that's why I'm going to do it. And one of them I'm actually going to use before too long again. The first one is the most common that people know about, but it's always one of those stories where I'm like, what? So it's in John chapter 9, and it's when the blind guy comes up to Jesus and he wants to, get healed or whatever. And Jesus makes clay, mud pies basically for this guy and puts them on his eyes. But the way he makes these mud pies is he spits. And I preached a sermon one time and I was like, how much spit do you have to spit to like make a mud pie? So it's not like one spit. Like it's not like you can just spit and you can make 2 mud pies to cover this guy's eyes. So like there's like, I mean, think about like if you were spitting in a cup, how much spit would you have to spit? So how long is Jesus spitting? What is everybody thinking while Jesus is spitting? And and you think about spit, like what's weird is like we all have spit in our mouth all the time. We all have saliva. That's why we swallow it. So we don't think about how gross it is. But the moment it comes out of my mouth, it completely changes. Does that make sense? Like, it goes from like, we always have spit in our mouth to like, now I spit in my hand and I'm putting it on your face. And you're just like, that's disgusting, And it's just, so anyway, I preached a sermon about that one time. We had a guest that emailed me and said they'd never come back. And I'm like, it's in the Bible. Like, it's just, because my point was like, what is everybody thinking while he's doing this? Why does he do this? Because we know Jesus can heal people without even touching them, or people have like touched his robes and they got healed. So what is going on in this story that Jesus is just like, I'm just going to spit a bunch, make some mud pies. And it's also like, one of the ironies to me is like, what is this blind guy thinking? Like everybody's like, oh, gross, and then all of a sudden, anyway, it's just a fascinating story.
So we did a couple of years ago, we did that 23andMe thing, and you have to spit in this like vial, and it's a lot of spit because it's got a line in there. And so I was like, I can't produce this much spit. And they're like, you can't drink any water or anything because that'll water it down. So I found out that you can actually, this is going to sound gross, you can milk your saliva glands. And like, and so that's what I would sit there and milk my saliva glands.
So is that what Jesus was
I
doing?
found out
Maybe.
about that because when we did our COVID tests, we didn't want to do the nose one. So there was a spit test and they give you a large vial that you have to fill up with spit. And I started spitting and I got it filled, but Jamie and the kids were having a hard time. So he was like showing them how to like milk their saliva glands and they're just spitting. And I'm telling you, it's so weird because I know like it's always in your mouth. You just don't think about it. You always have spit in your mouth, saliva in your mouth. But when it came out in that vial, like it was gross. Like I'm watching my own spit as this thing's filling up, and I'm just like, this is disgusting. And then I hand it to the guy, like, here's my spit for you. So anyway, so that's just a weird story to me, and it's gross because everybody's watching this, and then he puts it on the guy's face. So that's just a weird story with Jesus. My second favorite is it comes in 1 Samuel chapter 18, and it's where Saul, and the story is kind of a weird story, like that Saul wants David to marry his daughter because then he thinks that he can trap David into this thing and have control over David. And so David and his daughter, which is named Michael, which is a weird thing, David and Michael, because, in today's world. But anyway, so David and Michael get together. But the bounty for David to be able to marry Saul's daughter is there's this weird line where he's like, I don't want any money. What I want is foreskins, and I want 100 foreskins. So without getting too graphic, we all know what a foreskin is. So
I actually don't.
yeah. So think about this. Like you're David, and David's got these mighty men that like travel with him. And so can you imagine like that meeting where David's like, all right, here's what we have to do, guys. We have to not only go kill 100 Philistines, and then we got to bring back something to show Saul that we killed 100. Well, what do they want? Do they want a finger? Does he want a hand? Does he want their heads? All of those are like viable options. No, he wants their foreskins. And so you're thinking like, A, who's the guy cutting those off? B, who's collecting those? So then it gets even better because David wants to show his loyalty to Saul. He doesn't stop at 100. He brings back 200. And so like, it's just like one of those, like, what if, like in my mind, I'm sitting there going, if I'm one of David's men, I'm like, David, we're at 100. We're good. And he's like, nope, 100 more. And then just like, it's just a weird thing, right? I mean, it's just, it's a lot. So any thoughts about that?
What did they put them in? But like, here, are you going to count them all out? Like,
Yeah.
Did you get them?
Yeah. I'm thinking like, who's holding that? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Like, why? That's so
And then,
gross.
how
All
do-
sticking together.
How do
everything.
you present that? Like here, let's count. And is some dude like in Saul's
Exactly.
council like counting those?
He's
out?
counting it. He was going 1 skin, 2 skin, 3 skin, 4 skin. Oh, 4.
So just a really weird story. To go with that foreskin story, you guys may not know this. So right after, nobody ever talks about this Bible verse, but it's one of the weirdest Bible verses in the Bible. And I have to look up the exact thing. But right after Moses comes down from the mountain. So when he tells him he's got to go free his people, something happens between Moses coming off the mountain and going back. And God decided he wants to kill Moses. Okay, so it's in the Bible. You can look this up. He wants to kill Moses. So Moses' wife, they find out about this. And so they take a foreskin from their son and they present it on his foot as an offering to God. And then God decides he's not going to kill him. So just like this, and it's like 2 verses and then it's just gone. But it's like one of these things you're like, what did we just read? Like, A, why does God all of a sudden want to kill Moses? We don't find out why. And then B, like, how is the foreskin on his foot the solution to this problem? So just a really weird.
That's very weird.
Does anyone have a theory? Like, why?
No.
You get upset with somebody. How do I make it right? Well, I'll put a foreskin on my foot. That'll do it. Yep.
that is so weird.
I mean, there are theories as to why, and part of that thinks that's the beginning of like circumcision, like and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And so anyway, but it is just it's a Bible verse that's right there in the middle of the heart of the Moses story, and just nobody ever talks about it. Like it's almost easier to ignore it because you're just like, I mean, the bigger problem is why does God all of a sudden want to kill Moses after he just gave him this great challenge? Are you looking up the Bible verse right now?
Oh, no, I can't. I will.
No, you don't have to. I mean, it doesn't matter. But
No,
it is in there.
it feels like right now this story is skin deep and we need to dive in a little bit.
Gosh, Rusty.
So
Stop.
while Rusty's looking up that, so this is my last one, and this is one that's one of my favorite Bible stories because of the language that's used. So it takes place in Judges chapter 3. It's a very little known story, but there's a king Eglon, and he's like a wicked king. And nobody ever hears of him, but Ehud, who's like this like servant. Okay, so he brings him up. He's like this servant, but he's also kind of like an assassin. So it's kind of this weird kind of story. And so Eglon has to be taken out. And so God gives Ehud this mission to go and to do this. And so he goes to the Eglon. Now, the thing we found about Eglon is that he's incredibly fat. So there's like, do you remember Jehoshaphat? There's this fat Jehoshaphat. Well, apparently Eglon was even like twice as big as Jehoshaphat. So this is how it reads in Judges. So Ehud has to go and kill him. And it says this, Ehud came to him as he was sitting alone in the cool roof chamber. And Ehud said, I have a message from God for you. So this is to Eglon, the evil king. And Eglon arises from his seat, and Ehud reached with his left hand, took the sword from his right hand, and thrust it into his belly. And the hilt also went in after the blade, and the fat from his belly closed in on the blade. So like he's so fat that like as he goes in, it just like sucks it in. and like I just love that, and the fat closed in on it. Like it's just like, and there's other language talks about like, and it got stuck in there again. Like the fat starts to come out of his belly. So it's just really graphic. It said, "For he did not pull the sword out of his belly because he could not." And then the dung came out. So like as he's being killed, he defecates on himself. And so it's just like this amazing, like I just want to preach a sermon about those. I don't know what I would do with it, but just like it just is
Please don't.
like I want to do it
Gross.
from middle school camp. Like just like we're just gonna talk about this. But it's just this fascinating story that's in the Bible.
It'd be a really crappy sermon.
Yeah. There we go.
Rusty, you're just full
Oh,
of
I
it
know.
today, aren't you?
So Exodus chapter 4, 24 through 26 says this. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me, she said. So the Lord left him alone. At that time, she said bridegroom of blood. She was referring to circumcision.
Yep.
Is that the first time they mentioned that in the Bible?
I don't know if it is or not, but
No.
no, I don't think it is. But then it just like there's no reference of it. There's no mention. It's like here, but like it's just this super weird kind of thing. And and you got like the but anyway, those are my three of my favorites.
Very interesting.
Moses was like, "Look at my foot.
Yeah.
Like,
See what I've got?
See what I got on my toe."
But those stories are all like the last one's just kind of like I just like the language, like and the fat closed in on, like you can just imagine the fat come like and then like that he defecates on himself. It's kind of funny. And then but the other two are just like what are people thinking as they're observing this? Like Jesus spitting so much spit on the ground that he could make mud pies. And then the second of all, like David's men, like because they have to go with him to go get these foreskins, and it's like of all of the things you could bring back, like why? Like
Yeah.
it's weird.
So do you think that like Jesus, like the guy's blind, but he's not deaf. Do you think Jesus was like,
Well,
Oh my God.
that was what I preached about in the sermon that grossed the person out. Was I was like, the guy's blind, not deaf, so he hears Jesus spitting, and then all of a sudden on his eyes are these like liquidy, like wet, like little
Slimy,
mud
so-
pies,
ooh.
like and it just
I thought the sermon was pretty good, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
do they show that scene in The Chosen?
I don't know if they do or not.
I think that needs to be, I want to direct it.
But there's a lot more weird ones. Those are just three. I mean, there's obviously the one with Elijah and the bears and all that stuff. There's one. I mean, there's the giant worm. There's. I mean, we could get into Ezekiel and get into some real weird
What's the
stuff.
giant worm? Now I'm interested.
In Job?
And Job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
The question is, how do these apply to our lives as Christians? And
well, I preached sermons about the first two, the foreskins
right.
I preached about, and this last one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet.
We're all like silent. You preached about the
know.
foreskin.
I'm sitting there like, I
Oh,
do remember it
The
though.
foreskins was on Valentine's Day
Oh
because the
my
whole point of the
gosh.
sermon was how far are you willing to go for love, and the point was David was willing to go do this. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Anyway, it was just kind of like
And then he
Hey
cheated
Penny,
on
we
her.
could like
Yeah.
totally blackmail our spouses with this. Like David did this, and what
Yeah.
are you doing?
what are
Well,
you
this-
willing to do?
That could lead to some criminal
Yeah.
I agree.
activity. All of a sudden, tonight on Action 6 News,
But I always say
foreskins
this.
are disappearing.
I always say that stuff about the Bible. That's why I love these stories, though, is because people don't know these stories are in there. And I'm not saying like none of those three stories really are like life changing. They're just in there. And I think that's where people are like, A, read your Bibles. B, we're always like, we just need to get our kids reading the Bibles. Yeah, I don't know if you want them to do that. Like there's some really, and those are like, honestly, and Rusty, those are some of like the G-rated ones. Like I could have gotten, I mean, the foreskins one's a little risque, I guess, but like,
Yeah, and that's demonstrated in the Action Bible. The
Yeah.
graphic novel one. You can
Yeah.
go in there and they're
My
demonstrating.
boys have the action
Yeah.
Bibles.
we could, never mind.
You can buy that. You can buy that at our merch station. Actually,
I was thinking like we could do like a Bible lesson where like you reach into the box and you got to fill it.
Oh
Yes.
my
What is it?
gosh.
What am I feeling?
I
A
quit.
different-
Yeah. All right. Well, this was what Jeremy thought.
That's what Jeremy thought.
Okay, so before we get canceled, we're going to talk about what's happening at Journey and in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll share our favorite things right now. So, parents, if you have kids of any age under high school and under, there is a camp for them. But it is coming up immediately. Like if you want your kids to go to camp, you need to act now. So if you have kids 8th grade and under, go to whitemillschristiancamp.com and you can register there. And if you have a high schooler, you can go to the Journey app and you can register them for high school beach camp, which as of right now, this could change, but as of right now, June 19th is the deadline to sign up. So if we fill up before that, so don't, if you're
and
thinking
we're
about
filling up fast. I mean, so if you want to go to beach camp, talk to us this weekend. White Mills, as far as middle school, is this week. You can still go. I mean, you can even show up on Sunday and register, but you need to do it. You need to be thinking about it right now.
Yeah. So just know about that and send your kids to camp. It's fun. It can be life changing. Also, speaking of camp stuff, so on June 26th, we are having a cookout fundraiser for specifically the high school beach camp. Now, we're going to have hamburgers that day after service, and it is donation only. So we're not setting a price on it. But if you would like to donate to help send these kids to camp, that would be wonderful. We will have that June 26th. And if you're going to be out of town June 26th and you would still like to donate, feel free to let us know and we can make that happen. For everything else, just download the Journey app. It's the best place to stay in the know is what we're doing around here. And if you would like to give to Journey, that is the safest and easiest way to do so. Okay, so let's talk about what some of our favorite things in the world right now. These are our favorite things. I love that she gets to do that for people. I just think she should be our president. But that's just me.
That is you.
April agreed. She nodded her head. when I
No,
said
April
that.
never agrees with you.
That's true. All right, so I'll go first to give you guys a moment to gather your thoughts about your favorite things. But I have a few. So I'm a big podcast listener, and so there's a couple of podcasts that I'm into right now. The first one should not be a shock to anybody, but it's called Batman Unburied, and it's actually it dethroned the Joe Rogan Experience for the most listened to podcast for a while. And it's a original Batman story that you can only find on Spotify. So if you don't have Spotify, go get Spotify. We don't make any money off that. But it's very good. And it's got like an all-star cast. So the guy that does the voice of Bruce Wayne is the guy, his name's Winston Duke. He played M'Baku in Black Panther. And then there's some other people that are, unless you're like, you do a deep dive into geek world, you're not going to probably know who they are, but it's really good. The other podcasts I'm into are, one is, it's not new, but a friend of mine just turned me on to it. It's called The Constant, and it's weird history. And so I listened to this like 3-part episode on how actors are actually, how we got out of work actors are where we got snake oil salesmen and stuff like that. And unfortunately Christianity plays a part in that, but it was very interesting. And then the last podcast that I'm listening to right now is called Flightless Bird. And it is about this guy named David Ferrier. He's a journalist. He actually has a couple of documentaries. One called Dark Tourist on Netflix, where it's people who like to go to these weird, places where tragedies happened or whatever as tourism or dangerous places. He also has another documentary called Tickled, which is about people who are into paying people to let them tickle them, which is an interesting it's an interesting document. It's very interesting. And it's not what you might think, but it's very interesting. So anyways, he came over here to do a documentary, and then New Zealand shut the borders for COVID-19 and he could not get home. And so he has just decided that he's going to live here in the United States, and he is making it his attempt to learn more about the culture of the United States. And so these episodes are like, he does one on Disney adults, just like this weird thing about these adults who are just as big into Disney as children. And like, why are they doing this? This is so odd to me. And he has one on suing. Like, why do Americans like to sue each other so much? The first episode he did was actually on religion, and specifically Christianity. And he interviews this guy. If you listen to the podcast, Science Mike, he interviews Science Mike, and it's very, very interesting. Kind of what's going on with Christianity in America type thing. So Flightless Bird is the name of that one, by David Ferrier. I think you'll really, really like that. Then the other two things that I've got on here, just a couple of shows or movies. So the Disney Plus app has a new Chippendale movie, and it is very, very, like, I grew up watching Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Sing it.
Yeah. No.
He said no.
But it's John Mulaney and Andy Samberg doing the voice of Chip and Dale, and it is very tongue in cheek, very self aware, and it is hysterical. It's really really funny. They do this whole thing about ugly Sonic. I don't know if you all remember when they were doing the Sonic movie and they revealed Sonic, and everybody was like, "He's ugly. He's got human teeth." Well, they have this whole bit in there about ugly Sonic, and it's just very very funny. So check that out. And then the last thing is just the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. If you're not watching that,
That's on my list.
That was on my list too.
well, then I won't say
Gosh.
anything more about it. You all can talk about it.
I mean, there's nothing else to say about it.
No.
Yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's
Although there was that chase scene. I don't know if you saw the chase scene where he's chasing the little girl, and it's just like her feet are like moving like 3 inches at a time.
Yeah.
And he can't. He's like, you're a Jedi and you can't catch up with this little.
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, he's an out of work Jedi. It's the baby Leia show.
It
Kinda
was
like-
more-
still-
my brain goes, it's more about the stride.
That's true. That's
My
true.
brain goes to-
you're a human adult, and she's not even running. She's like shifting,
Yeah.
and you anyway. But forget
My biggest issue with that is that she looks like she's 6 years old, and she's supposed to be 10. Like, I don't understand that.
I don't know.
I don't
She's
even know
little.
what you're all talking about. So there's that.
It's good though. It's so good.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is a Star Trek character. He's
Yeah,
a
that's
part
all
of
I
the
don't know.
he's a part of the Borg.
the Klingons.
Yeah, the Klingons. That's it.
oh
Not-
my
not-
gosh, that's way too weird for me. But
Yeah.
whatever.
So, and if you watched episode 1 and you're like, I don't know, it just seems slow. It is until you get to episode 3,
Mhm.
and when it hits episode 3, it's off and running. So,
Yeah.
so give it a chance. All right. So, Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and share your?
Does
favorite
anybody else want
things?
to go? We can go ladies first.
Doesn't
got
matter. Do
anything?
you have a list?
I'm very boring. So I will tell you right now what I'm loving are my hummingbirds.
That's great.
I seriously love like just sitting outside and watching them like come to the feeder and stuff. And I love my garden. Like I got my first cucumber yesterday. I was so excited.
Do you know that hummingbirds come to the same place every year and they recognize you?
I believe that. I really
Aw.
do
No, they
because
really do.
if the feeder is like low,
Mhm.
the bird will fly to the window. And then I'm like, oh, I need to go get like some more nectar and put it in the
So
the
you
feeder.
actually, they've done studies on this. You have the same hummingbirds every year until they
I
die, of
love
course.
it.
But it's the same hummingbirds, and they recognize you. And so I actually, weird hummingbird story, but it happened last year. So we have a hummingbird feeder, and we have the same ones,
Mhm.
and it got trapped in the garage because we have
Yeah.
that stupid hang down.
We've
little
had that
thing,
happen too.
and
Yeah.
it's red, and they think it's a hummingbird feeder.
Mhm.
So we actually spray painted mine, so it's not red anymore. But it got trapped in the garage, and I couldn't, obviously I can't catch it. So eventually it wore itself out. It landed. I got a broom and got it up on like the bristles and took it out, and it was dying. And so I picked it up by its hand, and I took a squirt bottle, and I made a mixture of
Look
sugar
at Jeremy
and water.
being all
Wow.
sweet.
And
What?
it drank out of it, and then the next day, like this is a true story. So it came to me. I'm sitting on the back porch. It comes to the hummingbird feeder, and it comes, and it's same exact one because it was gray. So that's why I knew it was the same one. Came and like sat down on the table next to me, and like just sat there for a second, and then went back to the hummingbird
Yeah.
feeder.
I love
Aw.
it. Yeah, some people say they'll come in like set in your hand. Like
That's
if
what
you
I'm saying.
get
I
like
thought I wondered if it would have sat in my hand.
yeah, because they say if they got those little bird
Yeah.
feeders you can put in your hand.
We got
so.
Snow Willis over here.
Yeah.
so-
I know, right? Like he's over here, like
Yeah.
nurturing the hummingbirds and stuff. So,
He has a heart.
but yeah, I love like nature this time of the year, especially, and I love my garden. I know it sounds very, I don't know. There's something about watching it grow and like nurturing it, and I don't know. I
What's
love
the
it.
thing that did you plant anything new or different this year?
No, I mean we pretty much, tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, all that good stuff, and then I make amazing salsa. So
Can't
the
wait.
anticipation of that and canning, it's kind of weird, but it's also very satisfying.
Oh, hey, this
So,
is your favorite
yeah,
things right now.
that's
so-
what I'm loving right now in life. So
All right, cool.
my hammock swings, I love my hammock swings.
Cool.
Sounds nice, April.
It is. It's wonderful.
I wouldn't know. I've still not been invited to her home.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have you out, Rusty. Okay.
Same.
I'm waiting.
I
so-
mean, all those things. When I turn 65, I'm so excited.
That's
for
Oh
it.
true.
my gosh, I'm
That's
nowhere
true.
near 65, Brat.
yeah, AARP is calling.
Whatever. They're not.
Hello?
calling me.
You know,
Oh,
AARP.
goodness.
They're like,
I'll
she's
send you over
way
April.
too cool for AARP. Just saying.
All right, Penny, you're up.
All right. So, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi, fantastic. Make sure you watch it. I'm also watching Love on the Spectrum on Netflix. It is the dating show to watch. If you like The Bachelor and all those stupid little
Ugh.
shows where it's all fake, go watch something that's pure and makes you happy to watch. And that's Love on the Spectrum.
Like
It's actually-
Hallmark.
Yeah, it's no.
She said no.
I do not watch Hallmark. But anyways, it's basically a group of people that are on the spectrum. They're autistic and they want to date. And so they go on these dates together. And it's just awkward and beautiful. And just, you need to watch it. Super great show. Also, we got passes to Kentucky Kingdom this year. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, Kentucky Kingdom, like the customer service has been bad since COVID. They have amped themselves up. It's fantastic. We went a couple times already and customer service is good. All the rides were open. It was clean, low crowd. So if you're thinking about getting a pass, go get them. They're great.
Yeah, we had one a couple of years ago, and the kids love the water park. I mean, it's their
Yeah, it's
favorite
fun.
thing. And I can take them for a couple of hours, put them on a couple of rides. Oh, I have a pass. I'll just go home.
Yep.
And so,
Wears them out.
yep.
You still have to pay for parking though, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Not if you have a
okay.
pass.
All right.
Do you still get like it for like $9 if you bring an empty Pepsi can? Remember they did that?
I remember
promo?
back in
Yeah.
the old days.
Like
Yeah.
day 5 Alive days.
Yeah.
Day
Yeah.
5.
I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
Do you
Does
know
anybody
my
else remember
favorite?
that?
My favorite roller coaster
great.
ever was the Star Chaser.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
it
yeah.
broke down so much, and when
Yeah.
it broke down,
So
they turned all
dangerous.
the lights on, and
Yeah.
you'd see like what you were actually.
You remember
on.
the urban legend that somebody was beheaded in
Yeah,
there?
they were.
It didn't.
They
It
just
never
broke down
happened.
all the time.
Yeah.
It was a cool ride though, because you couldn't see anything, and then like literally, if you rode it enough, like every 10 times, it would break down.
Yeah.
And when it breaks down, they have all these lights come on, and you like get to see the inside of it, and you're like, oh, it's really not that cool after all.
Yeah.
But I
The
did love
Flight
that.
of Fear up in Kings Island's like that too.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Jeremy, your turn. You're up.
Yeah, obviously Obi-Wan. If you like Star Wars, if you don't like Star Wars, you will hate Obi-Wan. But if you like, and I'm not like a Star Wars like I like the movies, but I'm not like into the whole thing. But it was good. I just started watching Banner of Heaven. It's Andrew Garfield, and it's on Hulu, and it's kind of dark, but it's basically like this. It's fictional, but it's based on some real things that happened. About like LDS and the Mormons and Utah and all that stuff. So it's really good, and it's like I said, it's kind of dark, and I like that stuff. We binge watched last night. It's on Apple TV. It's called The Line. It's about the Eddie Gallagher stuff, the Navy SEAL that they were over in Iraq, and there was all this stuff that happened. It was a huge trial a couple years ago. He ended up getting pardoned by Donald Trump because of some stuff, but and I haven't finished it, so we're one episode left, and I'm not trying to get, because I know people have different feelings probably about it based on who he is, but it was really good, and it was one of the best like war documentaries of modern warfare that I've seen in a long time. And then a movie I watched recently that surprised me, but have y'all seen Old Henry?
Nope.
So it is amazing, and it's based on a character that you'll know, but I can't tell you who it is because then it'll give it away. But it's like a Western movie. But it's about this guy named Old Henry, and his son thinks he's like this loser, and like that he's just this farmer, and they live on this farmland. And then like halfway through the movie, it goes from it's kind of boring at first, and all of a sudden it gets real intense real fast. So there's like a buildup. And then when you find out who it actually is, and it's based on an urban legend that this was actually the true story of this person, and I can't tell you who it is because
Okay, so what streaming device? Like, where can I get this?
I watched it. I'm wanting to say on, I don't know. You have to Google it. I can't remember what I watched it on.
Okay.
It was a while back, but it's called Old Henry, and you'll know the actor. He's one of my favorite actors. He's kind of a weird looking dude.
It is. It's on Hulu. You can
Okay.
watch it on Hulu, and it's Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson. So
He was
he's
in
been-
Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Oh, Brother, we're out
Okay.
there. But he's kind of a goofy looking dude. But it's really good. It's called Old Henry. And I wish I could tell you who it's about because then you might want to watch it. But it's based on somebody from history. It's a Western type movie, but it gets real intense. So you said products. And so 3 products that I've gotten recently. So first of all, the Enneagram. We're all into the Enneagram now.
yeah.
We all know our numbers now. So we know that as the staff. Ryan, the intern, sitting in here watching us right now because he'll be on the thing. He'll get to do the Enneagram too. So it's been fascinating to kind of read all that
Yeah.
stuff and learn how people work and all that. So the Enneagram. I've had this for a few years, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it out there. If you love campfires and you don't have a solo stove, you need to get one. And I know they're expensive, so you can get a knockoff brand, but solo stoves, like the smokeless fire pits, are a game changer. You don't smell like a campfire. It doesn't smoke. I mean, it really is a smokeless fire pit. So you get this big fire, but it doesn't smoke. And so that's awesome. And then my kids, and this is my kids thing, and actually Ryan, our intern's been playing with this. We got one of those watermelon balls for our pool. It is like $20. It is the coolest thing ever. It's a ball that you fill with water. And the way they've made the product is they call it the watermelon ball, is it would have the buoyancy of a watermelon. So watermelons don't really float or sink. They're kind of like in between. And so like when you throw it, like you can pass it underwater. Like we've made up like 5 or 6 games already. You can pass it underwater. And when you pass it underwater, it'll go like the whole length of the pool. and then it'll kind of float in the middle. Like it never really fully comes to the surface, if that makes sense. But what's really cool is you can dribble it on the ground like a basketball underwater. And so the buoyancy of it. So we've made like watermelon ball, which gets really violent really fast, but our kids love it. And so, yeah, it's a really cool product, and you can get them anywhere, Amazon, Walmart. But it's called so if you own a pool, you need to get a watermelon ball because it is hours of endless fun, and we just make up all kinds of weird games with it.
You hear that, Mom? You need to get a watermelon ball.
Yeah, watermelon ball. And then lastly, the last thing, I haven't listened to really new podcasts recently, but I did read Andy Stanley's new book, Not In It to Win It.
Oh yeah.
And it was really good. It's about political stuff, and so some people read it and not like it, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, he even was on CNN.
He really-
Yeah,
he
you sent
was.
that article. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, that is that's all the stuff I've been into recently.
Oh, this made me think of one other thing that I wanted to recommend. Penny, when you said what streaming service is it on? So there's a great app. It's a free app called Just Watch, and you can create a free account, and you can tell the app what streaming services you subscribe to, and then you can search for Old Henry, and it will show you these are where you can watch this, and this is where it's free. This is where it
Kind of like Roku.
Cool.
Yep, kind of. Yep. So, anyway, anybody have anything else?
Oh yeah, one last thing. It hadn't came out yet, but I'm excited. Justified. Did you hear that there's a new
Yes.
season coming out?
Yes.
Yep.
It's supposedly it's a one and done, but
Yeah.
I think if
I'm
there's
optimistic that
yeah.
they'll do more.
and not that, I mean, today's a good news day. They did announce season 3 of Ted Lasso is probably going to be its last.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that because if they tell a good story and it finishes well, I'd rather it be that way than them drag it on
Yeah.
for forever.
Yeah.
So, well, that is our show for today. Our good news stories, our happy feelings. The world is a bright place today because you have listened to Divinely Uninspired, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.